What's up, guys? See, this video is in the training tab, but you won't be seeing me train today. Rather, I'm going to teach you why you should be training high intensity heavy duty. If you're not already, listen to this video series, go watch the Mincer tapes, listen to Slank, he'll tell you, go watch the Iconomcast, follow me on Instagram, and get started, guys. Okay? There is one superior training modality in regards to hypertrophy, and it is high intensity, heavy duty training. Now, why do I teach HIIT? Why does Slank teach HIIT? Why did Dorian do HIIT? Was Mike just a meth head weirdo who was trying to sell something for lazy people? No, guys, no. The reason HIIT is the superior system is because it focuses on the true scientific principle that actually triggers muscle growth, which is mechanical tension. So mechanical tension is a scientific term that describes the involuntary slowing of the implement. Involuntary slowing is simply, no matter how hard you push, the rep slows down. To make that happen, you have to use a lot of effort, okay? To dig into those effective reps where mechanical tension is occurring requires very high levels of intensity. Does it make sense? The primary driver of hypertrophy is going to be intensity of effort. Intensity of effort that triggers mechanical tension. When that involuntary slowing happens, you are triggering and recruiting the most motor units possible in the muscle. When you take it from involuntary slowing to involuntary cessation, which means it ain't moving no more, you hit failure. And then if you got a buddy and you're feeling spicy, you can go even further than that, okay? All other training modalities are going to tell you that volume is the primary driver of hypertrophy, which it is not, guys. It is not at all. Look at the legs of a marathon runner and look at the legs of a sprinter. One guy has 40-year-old wino mom legs. One guy has jacked legs. The jacked guy is the sprinter. Okay, if volume was a attributor to hypertrophy, then you could, in theory, do an infinite number of 1 pound dumbbell curls and grow 20-inch arms. But we know that not to be the case. And then you'll say, but Billy, hold on. All these guys at the top, they do high volume training. Yeah, in their high volume training, these involuntary slowed reps, these reps with mechanical tension occur. Now, there's a whole bunch of bullshit that leads up to those reps, and all that bullshit isn't what causes the growth, right? So with high intensity, heavy duty training, you are focusing in on triggering that stimulus in the most efficient and productive way possible with no fluff. Okay? So intensity's relation to mechanical failure is there. You must recruit insane levels of effort to get past that involuntary slowing, to actually dig in and accumulate those effective reps. So the nature of adaptation, right? If we want to just get logical and forget about the science behind all of this, when you adapt to something, you're adapting to a new stress. You're adapting to taking your body to a place it's never been before. When you take your body to absolute failure, okay, under control, hypertrophy rep range, taking it to absolute failure, you've triggered all that stimulus. We're forgetting about the science. So we're not even going to look at the motor units or the involuntary slowing. We're just going to say that you put yourself in a place you've never been, right? You went into deep water. Your body's going to want to adapt from that. The truth of the matter is that you can't replicate a set where maximum effort like that was used. You're not going to be able to do that same set twice. You're not. And if you think you can, I want you to post the videos to this training vlog on this page, on this channel, on this site, and I want to see you do 2 max effort sets for the same number of reps in a row. You cannot, because you actually tapped into a place your body had never been. Any extra sets after that initial one to failure are going to be counterproductive. They're just going to generate fatigue. They're just going to beat your body up and give you more to repair and to recover from, and more systemic fatigue on your nervous system, more inflammation. We have a limited capacity for recovery. Our body is a closed system, okay? It only has so much resources it can allocate, and it can only perform so many functions at once. So why not be as efficient as possible? Get in there, trigger that growth, achieve the stimulus you want, and then go home and grow. Don't bog it down with all this other stuff. That's what high intensity training is. And I haven't even gotten into all the other stuff that we're going to go over in this video series, okay? Now, is it all just going into the gym and training to absolute failure? Of course, there's other facets to this. And like I said, volume cannot be high when you're training with maximum levels of effort. You cannot sprint a marathon. Now, somebody will say, well, I train really hard and I train high volume. And I will say, no, you don't. You don't. There is no way you could do that much for that long. There are very, 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 very few people that can. And you're not one of them, okay? And even then, those guys at the top, there's some fluff in their training that could be removed and they could make things more efficient. It's just the way it is. Call me some fucking know-it-all, but if you want to be honest with yourself, you'll realize that is the case. So how do we know that adaptation is occurring, right? We go in, we trigger the muscle growth, we train to absolute failure. And well, how do we know that happens, Bill? Well, it's the principle of progressive overload. All right, so if taking a set to absolute true failure is taking my body to a place it's never been before, well, how do I know that I adapted, right? I triggered the growth, but how do I know that I adapted, which is to grow? Well, simply, if I can go back into the gym the next time I train that muscle group, I'll have my logbook with me, and I'll see, is my next max effort set to absolute failure? Can I generate more force production? Can I do one more rep or one more pound? If I can in my next workout, then I know without a shadow of a doubt, with 100% certainty, that I have adapted to that stress. I have accrued more muscle tissue. So there is a direct correlation, guys, between the cross-sectional surface area of a muscle and how much force it can exert. Say that again. Direct correlation between the cross-sectional surface area of a muscle and the amount of force it can produce. Okay, now, can you have little muscles that produce a lot of force? Yes, you can. There's tons of guys on Olympic lifting teams, they can, like 130-pound Asians that'll clean and jerk 400 pounds over their head. Those are neurological adaptations. And crazy genetic freaks that can turn on a bunch of fibers all at once, and it's a lot of stuff there, but that ain't you or me, okay? We're going to get stronger when we get bigger. And we're going to be training in a way that we're focusing on single joint movements that isolate individual parts of our body. And we can progressively overload those. We know that we are growing. We know for certain that we're growing. I had a recent client who dropped like 30 pounds since, I think it was October or November. He dropped 30 pounds in like 12 weeks. 28 pounds, 12 weeks. And he went and did a scan, and he's like, dude, it says I gained 2 pounds of muscle. And I said to him, well, dude, you beat your training logs every week. What'd you expect? I knew you were going to grow muscle. And the light bulb clicked off for him, like, oh, holy shit. Yeah, you're right. Well, yeah. You beat those logs, you've adapted to that stress. Simple as that. So that's how you know. And that's how you'll find out if you've got too much volume in your training or if you're training too frequently. Because the progressive overload is going to be the dictator of how we know that we've adapted to our stress. We know what causes the growth. We know what triggers the growth. What triggers the growth is training to absolute failure. Taking the body to a place it's never been. How do we know we've adapted is whether we beat the logbooks. If you can't beat the logbook, there's variables that you can check out and you can adjust to fix your problem. You can find out where your problem is if you start failing in your logbooks. You can figure out the reasons why you didn't adapt. And I'll give you a sneak peek. This is going to be a video series. I'm going to go over all this stuff, man. You guys are going to be so well rounded on this topic that popular YouTubers are going to refuse to debate you on the matter. Seriously. So the sneak peek is this: is that it's going to be either you're doing too much volume, like too many sets per body part overall, or you're training too frequently. And I'll get into volume and frequency in another video, but I hope you guys took something out of this. I'm here to stay. Mr. Heavy Duty, signing out. Stay slanking, boys.